I want to demonstrate an issue that may occur when objects are non-uniformly scaled. That means stretched in one axis differently than in the other axes. When you non-uniformly scale objects and then link them together in a hierarchy, you may experience some very strange skewing artifacts when you rotate the child in the hierarchy. I'm going to show you how this occurs, how to fix it, how to avoid it, and along the way hopefully illuminate some of the inner workings of hierarchical transforms. In the artist mannequin character, the chest object here needs to be stretched, and I can do that with non-uniform scaling in the Z-axis. So on the main toolbar, I'll grab the Scale tool, and the default form of scale is Select and Uniform, but as we know, we're able to non-uniformly scale using the Transform gizmo. I want to scale in the local coordinate system, and so that I can analyze this, I also want to open the Transform Type-In dialog for the Scale tool. So I'll right-click on Select and Uniform Scale, and now I've got the absolute local scale visible. And I'll click and drag on the Z-axis and bring that up, and it looks like I need to scale it up to 200%. So I'll just round off this Z value to exactly 200%. Now the chest has been scaled up to twice its original size, but only in the Z-axis. Now let's see about this problem that can come about in this situation. I'll create a link. Grab the Select and Link tool and link the head to the chest. Okay, so far so good. Now I'll grab the Rotate tool and rotate the head around the X-axis. And immediately we start to see some major issue. The head is actually changing shape as it rotates. You can see that interactively. Okay, I'll undo that with Control-Z a couple of times. What's happening here is that the head is inheriting the scale from its parent, which is the chest. But the chest has a non-uniform scale in Z, so that it is twice its original size. It's been scaled up to a factor of 2 in Z. Okay, well, let's select that head, go back to the Scale tool, and investigate. Look at this. The Z scale for the head is 50%. So what 3ds Max did was, in order to maintain the shape of the head, it performed an inverse scale. It inherited a scale of 200% from the chest, and then locally the head was scaled down by the inverse factor. So it's been scaled down to half. Now it's back at a scale of 100% to a visual inspection, but actually under the hood it's scaled to half of its original size in Z. And then additionally, we're getting the skewing artifact because of the order of operations for position, rotation, and scale. Similarly to how we saw that the order of rotation axes has an influence on the result, here we're seeing an artifact resulting from the internal order of operations in which objects are positioned, then rotated, and then scaled, all relative to their parent. So that's the key to what's happening here. That scaling is being applied after the rotations. The order of operations for transforms is position, rotation, and scale. So the head is being rotated and then scaled. All right, well, of course, we don't want this, so let's undo. We can go up to our Undo button and right-click on it, and we'll get the Undo history. We want to go back before the link. So we'll select that link and undo. And now everything's back the way it was, except that this object has a scale of 200%. Okay, to fix this issue, it's actually quite simple. We'll just reset the scale on the selected object. With that chest selected, go over to the Hierarchy panel. And in the Pivot subpanel, we want to go into the Adjust Transform Rollout. And here we have a button, Reset Scale. So click that button, and now we have a 100% scale for the chest. And we can create our link as before, link the head to the chest, grab the Rotate tool, and rotate that head, and we no longer have that skewing issue. All right, so that's how to fix the problem when it occurs. To avoid the issue in the first place, simply scale sub-objects instead of objects. Just never use the Scale tool at the object level. So if I select an object and go to its Modify panel, if it's an editable object, then I can easily scale it at the sub-object level, such as polygon or vertex. And that does not affect the object level transforms. So we won't have the issue. Even though we scaled it non-uniformly at the sub-object level, we haven't touched the object level scale. That's an illustration of the common issue of rotational skewing resulting from a non-uniformly scaled parent.